Welcome to Blue Boo, to blah blah blah, to... Been far too long. What's this game called again?
It's called Bloodborne, and who let you out of the basement?
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Bloodborne. You know, Bloodborne, the From Software classic with a heavy focus on dodging and parrying. No, wait, what are you doing? You can't play it like that, you crazy Can you tank Bloodborne? Okay, let's lay out some ground rules. Here's what I'm not going to be doing. No dodging, no healing vials, no parrying, no strafing around enemies to deliberately avoid attacks. If something moves around me though, then that's fine, not my problem. No one-shots, no over-leveling. I'd be trying to stay around the recommended level ranges for the game. No sequence-breaking skips, and no glitches. Oh, and no killing Amy G. Why? Because I completely forgot to. Moving on. Given that Bloodborne really doesn't want you to brute force your way through the game, and as I'm framing this as a tank build, rather than an all-hit run, we are going to have to get a little creative. So, here are some things I will be allowing. Running to close distance on bosses. Backstab, if doing so doesn't involve avoiding an attack in the process. Taking viscerals if available. Use any useful tools to make my life easier. And use the environment to my advantage. I would also be sprinting past the majority of basic enemies, however, in the instances where I do have to fight something, I would still be following the rules. And, well, that's it really. I did this run as an experiment and had no idea how far I could actually push it. The results may surprise you. Well, probably not, given that you can already see how long this video is. Let's get on with it.
Let's begin the transfusion. This is the part that is easy.
Wake the F up, samurai! We have a space baby to kill. Lone survivor for the high vitality, hilarious name because I am a comedic genius, a face I was unsure whether to kiss or wipe, and, not for the first time in my life, I came to on a table with no memory of the night before. So, after heading to the first lamp and picking up the mollies along the way, I returned to the dream to take the pistol and the axe as my starter weapons. The gun doesn't really matter as we'll hardly be using it, but the axe would be my beast hunting tool of choice for this run, due to it having the highest rally potential in the game. Well, technically the burial blade's transformed attacks can outperform it, but for my purposes, the axe was best. With that done, it was time to return to Yharnam to run the 5k. This is the route I usually take when I want to do a thorough but fast sweep of central Yharnam. So here's a brief overview. More mollies by the first drop down, shard to the right of the square, another one just beyond it, kill the dog through the railings and sprint past the patrol, shard on the bridge, 2 more beyond it before the sewer drop down, pick up some better armour, up the ladder and kill the birds for the madman's knowledge, and up again to get the music box.
I'm all alone and scared.
Why yes, of course I'll help you.
Really? Oh, thank you.
From there, I dropped down to the dog cages, introduced myself to Eileen for some free bus tickets, cut down more shards, proceeded downwards to the sewers for 1 more shard, up to the bridge, baiting the patrol into running past me and dying to the ball by hiding behind these statues, turned the pig inside out like a duvet cover, unlocked the lift, and picked up 1 final shard just before the lamp. This route should net you 9 shards and some cold blood. So I popped them, sold my starter gear, upgraded the axe to +2 and dumped the rest into levels to get 18 vitality and 12 endurance. Finally a friendly face. It goes without saying that, since Bloodborne really doesn't want you to play as a tank, and we also have no real access to resources yet, we're gonna have to use the mysterious and arcane arts of exploiting the environment to our advantage. Luckily, Papa Dearest loves to get stuck on the other side of these tombstones, meaning we can spin to win straight through them. Of course, he can hit you right back as well, so you have to watch out, since if you get knocked back too far, he'll just walk around to your side. Once he pops his bestiality, make sure he's completely finished the animation and then music box. This should stun him long enough to throw him a cocktail party. Oh, he's all tired out now. Why does this ring a bell?
Mum was a red George brooch.
Oh well. With Cathedral Ward open, I could detour for the
Greatest item in the game.
before descending to Old Yharnam. After speaking to Alfred for some fire paper, I Molotov the Wandering Madness outside the door for an easy kill, and then it was onwards and downwards. Poundland Rambo gotta go though. Other than bloodstone shards, the main things we need from here are the ritual blood, the beast blood pellets in this corner, and some more fire paper at the top of the shortcut tower. Can I get a +3 axe with a side of blood gems with a small level up to go?
If you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Erden Chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over. If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, Erden Chapel. Gotcha.
It's okay. I love you almost as much as Mum and Dad. And Granddad.
Look, I never said I wasn't a monster. Now, do you know what they call a blood-starved beast in Paris? They call it a BSB with cheese. Fire paper, beast blood pellet, pungent blood cocktail... No, just kidding, we're gonna do this legit. Here's a public information broadcast to explain. Hello, big boy. Do you struggle to stay hard? You need lead elixir. It keeps you rock hard for 30 seconds, and I'm sure that's all you need.
Warning, may not actually do what it says in the description.
So, what does it do? Well, the most important thing is, it gives you poise. In Bloodborne. I know. It doesn't work against every attack, but does stop a lot of things from staggering you, including a variety of boss attacks. It also makes some attacks from weaker weapons completely bounce off you and reduce damage. The trade-off is, your walk speed is reduced, and so is your run, which also takes longer to start up after pressing the button. Full details are on the wiki, but this isn't meant to be a comprehensive study of which attacks will and won't stagger you, so I would just use it indiscriminately in boss fights and hope for the best. Also, it's a very limited item at the moment, so I would be making save states before bosses. Sue me. Let's go and test this, shall we? First things first, I'd want to bait BSB over to this end of the room before I engaged. Her arena is large, and she skitters back and away a lot, so I wanted to restrict her movement. Then, just spice up your blade, lead elixir up, and start whooping ass. Make sure antidotes are on hand so you can instantly heal poison. Other than that, just hope that she stays relatively close, and also that she doesn't do the grab attack. I could only spare one elixir for this fight, which ran out before the end, so I just had to hope for decent RNG from then on in. But BSB fell before my trusty axe, and it was free money time. And also my first twin shards. I've seen several people overcomplicate the drop down to the abandoned workshop. All you need to do is turn like so, and drop in the gap next to this piece of wood that juts out. Other than the third umbilical cord, the main thing I needed here was the dolls set, because it sells for a cool 35,000 echoes, which I promptly dumped into Vitality. Here you go, love. Got you something?
What? Tell me, Hunter. Could this be joy?
What? No, don't be silly. Another drop down that people seem to overthink later, and I could get the Cathedral Ward fully opened up and handle some important business. Yoink. First up, more twin shards behind Squid Boy, as well as a decent gem for this stage of the game, before sending Ariana to Erden Chapel. Next, a quick catch up with Eileen. Her quest is actually quite important for this run, so I made sure to progress it. And an invigorating jog through Hemwick Charnel Lane for more twinsies, 30 vitality, and back to the ward for a beating. Little Big Planet really isn't how I remember it, huh?
You've come to save me. Oh, thank you so much.
Despite being bold, my guy decided to get a little off the top, but my main reason for coming here now was the remaining twin shards I needed for a +6 axe. Probably overkill for the witches, but who cares. I triggered the fight, then marked out to spend all my insight and avoid the minions spawning, and got to giving some old ladies a good hiding. There is the easy cheesy backstab loop strat you could do here, but it's really not necessary. Just go for the first witch to the left of the door and follow her around as she teleports until she's almost dead. Then do the same to the second witch, who always starts here at the other end of the arena, before finishing them both off. Next on my chopping list was Henrik, who is definitely a step up in difficulty. Spin to Win put in some work until Eileen showed up, and then I backed away and let her do the heavy lifting as I didn't want to kill her by mistake. So far, so good. Me, when I accidentally tear the little bit of skin next to my fingernail. Usually, you'd horrendously embarrass Vicar Amelia with beast blood pellets and fire paper, but since we can't use beast blood pellets in conjunction with lead elixir, as body buffs don't stack, we're just going to have to horrendously embarrass her with lead elixir and fire paper instead. The principle is the same, just walk around her breaking her limbs. This isn't avoiding any attacks since she can swipe out sideways anyway, but the elixir can prevent some of the staggers, and you can just rally back your health as needed if she does hit you. Which she won't do very much anyway, by virtue of being constantly staggered. Obviously, you need to watch your stamina like I was clearly doing here. Yeah. Good enough.
This is the part that is slightly harder.
With the woods now open, I could get the tonsil stone from Patches and the Canehurst summons from the clinic, before letting myself get abducted to reach the Nightmare Frontier for more lead elixirs, of which there are several here, 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 and, here. Crossing the Poison Lake without dodging is a little bit of a pain, but there is a very simple skip you can do at the shortcut elevator to avoid this. Emote on the edge here and quit out just before you hit the bottom. When you load back in, you should spawn in mid-air and drop onto the elevator, letting you send it back up. As BSB was dead, I could also start delving into chalices. No, not that one.
Y'all know the name!
First up, the first story chalice. So it's time to put those elixirs to work. For Undead Giant, walk in, elixir by the fog gate. You want to bait his jump attack, because once he's over by the fog, it's easier to get him stuck there and thrash him to death. I'm not saying this is foolproof, because I am a fool and this is the proof, but it shouldn't take more than a few tries to get favourable RNG. The watchers on the next layer are a little more annoying, but they can be separated. First, stand behind this corner to buff. This should bait one of the watchers to walk downstairs while the other two stay at the top. Once you've dealt with him, you can head up the stairs to handle the other two. Never in doubt. Well, maybe in a little bit of doubt. False Depth Chalices are Depth 5 Chalice dungeons that have been edited by the community to be accessible with a Depth 1 Root Chalice. Oh look, a Depth 1 Root Chalice. How convenient, it's almost like I plan my runs out or something. This lets you access places with high level gear like Carol runes. First, the top tier clockwise and anti-clockwise metamorphosis, available from glyphs Jugan to Jukakawa and Dugata 23 Fwop, respectively. Why do they give these things such unpronounceable names? I also grabbed Fading Lake and the Eye Rune, which I'd need later, as well as buying all the other root chalices from the messengers in this glyph, and the uncanny variant of the Hunter Axe from here. Uncanny versions of weapons have different gem slots, which I'd need for the build I was working towards, but I'd also need upgrade materials, so I sprinted all the way through the woods for twin shards, as well as grabbing the shortcut. Shit. I wasn't sure what rune configuration would work best, so I also picked up the clockwise and anti-clockwise variants near the blue goobers in the woods, detoured to Canehurst to pick up all 5 chunks there, and upgraded my new axe to +7. It goes without saying that the Shadows of Yharnam would be a big step up in difficulty from anything I'd faced thus far. Whilst elixirs can be very effective against them, and cause a lot of their attacks to bounce off, there are still 3 of them, and if you get caught in the crossfire, or eat a full fire stream to the grill, you're going to get melted like plastic cheese on a Big Mac. Luckily, the devs put a very convenient stone in the arena, so it would be rude not to use it. By wedging yourself in here at the start of the fight and using an elixir, you can hit them through the stone with charged R2s, whilst staying out of sight of the fireball chucker. That's not to say that this makes things easy in any way. If they do their charged attacks, they'll still knock you back and away despite the elixir, and once you're not in the spot anymore, you can wave goodbye to the attempt. And since you can only carry 3 lead elixirs at a time, all I can say is, good luck! After throwing myself at the trio in a purely platonic way for a couple of hours, I only managed 1 attempt where I got even remotely close. So it was clear that, although the strat had potential, I'd need a little more damage to push through. Get grabbed, run through the DLC, the Nightmare Frontier and the woods for enough bloodstone chunks to get a +9, go back to the shadows and marvel at your huge damage boost. Oh. Yeah, let's not waste any time doing that. Please disregard the time I actually wasted doing that just to get the footage to show you that it's not worth doing that. As I hadn't started pumping my damage stats yet, I wasn't getting much benefit from scaling. So by far the best way to get a big damage boost is with better gems, and luckily there are some you can obtain early that don't require any actual combat to obtain. Both of these glyphs have some Wandering Madnesses on level 1 that can be farmed for some pretty decent cursed gems. One glyph drops radials and the other drops waning gems, and you can either save scum before killing them or just keep remaking the dungeon, until you get some fizz up gems without rubbish curses. Thanks, Bloodborne. With the axe gemmed up like a rapper's wrist, it was back to the woods for some much needed revenge. Let's do this, you junky freaks.
What? Black and what? Blasphemous murderers, blood-crazed fiends.
I think you're overstating it a little, mate. There are like 6 people here and it's the size of a postage stamp. Of course, one of them is Yuri, and nobody got time for that. So let's play a quick game of hide under the stairs to de-aggro her before a spot of night swimming. Ideally, we want a 1-cycle ROM, because once she teleports and starts magicking all over the place, it's gonna be a bad time. Step 1. Kill the spiderlings. Okay, scrap that. Step 1. Don't kill the spiderlings. Just poise through them with an elixir while letting rip on ROM. This also doesn't work. The babies just get in the way of you staggering ROM out of the teleport. Back to step 1, alpha version. Kill the spiderlings with an elixir and some bolt paper. Once they're all out of the picture, wait for the elixir to run out, then do the old reliable. Beast blood pellet, boot the snoot with your bare fist to build up the meter, then make your axe all tingly and get to work. I'm sorry, Rom, I still think you're cute, I just think we want different things in life. With full access to Yahar'gul, I could collect a bunch more chunks and make my way over to Advent Plaza to fight the One Reborn. Still, I had this nagging feeling that I'd forgotten something. Oh god, yeah, you. I'm sorry, Paul, you're just so... What was I even doing here again? Oh, yeah, I'm killing... that... guy? 10 out of 10 combat. With the chunks from Yahar'gul, I could get the axe to a meaty +9, and now that the Blood Moon phase had begun, I could also buy infinite lead elixirs. Well, I say infinite, they cost 2 insight each, and farming insight is a pain, so I'd still be making save states before bosses to save time. Ugh. The last time I saw something that gross was when I cleaned out the plug hole in my shower. As you'd expect, this is pretty straightforward, as you can just walk around him poising through his leg swipes to stagger him, and once he's caught in a loop, he's pretty much useless. No need to even worry about the bell ringers since you can rally back any fireball damage. Since he attacks from every possible angle at once, walking around him doesn't strafe his attacks. Not that he gets much of a chance to do anything anyway, and after only a couple of attempts, the One Reborn became the One Re-died again. I fondled a corpse for no discernible reason and went back to the dream to level up. Well, now you've just gone and made this awkward. Time to handle a bit of other business before progressing the main game. I'll be honest, I thought the Bloody Crow would be much harder, but since he's an NPC with a normal weapon, a lot of his attacks just bounce off when you use Elixir, and he's also vulnerable to a bit of the old spin to win, which you can just spam repeatedly. The only thing to be aware of is that you need to push him towards the back wall. If he has space behind him, he'll just make distance to heal, which can cost you the attempt. Getting rid of him nets you the Hunter rune, useful because it boosts your stamina recovery. It's only an increase of 6% to the speed, but given how the difficulty of this run ramps up exponentially from this point onwards, every little crumb helps. Speaking of which, it was time for some better gems. As you may know, the best gems in the game are found in FRC chalices, but those can't be accessed without going through a whole lot of pain, which just isn't possible with these restrictions. I tried, for science. Luckily for me, the gems I want can be obtained earlier than that anyway. Boost rally potential is a secondary effect that can appear on gems from the Laurence Chalice's drop pool, and one of the best enemies to farm waning gems with physical attack up and boost rally potential as a secondary is the Madman. Oh god. Like this one with a red aura near the first lamp in this glyph. Unfortunately, they put a bell lady close enough that you'll get swarmed if you try to engage the Madman, So run past everything, quit out to de-aggro, kill the bell lady, then back up your save behind the madman and get to farming. That'll do nicely. The physical bonus isn't the best, but 6.1% rally boost is almost as high as you'll get, and stamina cost up is one of the best curses to find. Next, we need a couple of radials. If you farm for gems without FRC access, you might well be familiar with XC284UGX. In this glyph, there are 2 Labyrinth warriors you can kill for decent tempering gems. As I was only level 46 at this point, face tanking them wasn't an option. Luckily, they're pretty dumb, so you can bait them up the ladder by running around upstairs and then spin them right back down again. Only problem is, they tend to drop gems with secondary effects from the Thumaru pool, which doesn't include boost rally. However, this glyph is a mirror of that previous dungeon, but here they drop gems with Laurence secondary effects, which means we can get the exact ones we want. Yes? Yes? You bastard.
This is the part that makes me want to claw my eyes out.
After a couple of hours of farming, I got 2 radials that were decent enough, even if they didn't have the most ideal curses, as well as some other gems without boost rally which might come in handy. So, 2.5%, 2.7% and 6.1%, that's a total rally boost of 51.5%. Yeah, so in classic FromSoft fashion, the numbers quoted on boost rally potential gems are just, well, fucking nonsense. I'll link the full table, but basically you can just multiply the number shown by 4. Which is nice for me, because the more health I could rally back, the longer I could survive before dying to terrible RNG anyway. Time to find some skinny nerd to try this out on. Okay, I get it, maybe you only look skinny because you're so tall. The main issue with this fight is that in phase 1, Ligarius constantly hops back and away after casting, taking away your chance to rally. So you want to get him to hop all the way back to the wall. Told you the shield would be useful. Once he can't go anywhere, this becomes much easier. Not only could I rally back a lot of his damage, he also gives you a big backstab window at his phase change while he sits there straining out of shit or whatever it is he's doing. Phase 2 is actually much simpler. Wanna melee me, big guy? You're in my world now, and it's called Ping. Never even remotely in doubt. At this point, I had options. How about an easy first try Celestial Emissary into a quick cheeky little Ebrietas? No. I'll come back later. What about a little amygdala tickle, followed by a jog through a blood river to speak to a man wrapped in used toilet paper before jousting with a hysterical horse? Promising, but a blood rock and a couple more levels wouldn't hurt. Okay, fine.
Cosm. Some say Cosm.
What? Who? No, my name's Baron. This wasn't a fight I'd find a picture of next to the word fun in the dictionary, because that's not how dictionaries work. But it wasn't as terrible as I thought. Lead Elixir is pointless in phase 1 since he only has 1 attack, which it's totally ineffective against. My strat was pretty simple though. Hope that he separates from his weird puppets, deal with them first, and then just try to force him back into a corner with the spin attack. After healing back up by swapping to a weapon with a health regen gem equipped, phase 2 was cake. This time, Elixir would help if he starts punching, and you can pretty much just bully him, unless he decides to auger twice in a row. Meh. Until next time, dickhead.
It can't be. This is a nightmare.
No, don't worry about it. I'm sure it's a phase and it will just grow out of it. Now I had a maxed out weapon and some more points into dealing damage, I returned to the nightmare to smack the pony. During the course of attempting this fight, I discovered something I didn't know before, which helps massively. If you wallop Ludwig right in his British teeth, it cancels him right out of some of his attacks, including, most importantly, the charge attack and the one where he flies into outer space for like 8 hours, which makes this a lot more manageable in phase 1. As for the rest, well, just pray to the RNG gods and get slapping. Like so. Not only does Ludwig drop the Guidance Rune 2, which gives another 20% boost to rally potential, he also gatekeeps the next area, the Research Hall, my favourite in the entire game, which is why I'm killing a minimal amount of enemies here and sprinting through it as fast as possible. If you love something, set it free, or something. Some good loot in this place, including another, inferior version of the Guidance Rune, the Lock Shield, which believe it or not does come in useful, and this Triangle Gem, the only one in the game with rally potential as its primary and only bonus. I didn't use it because it would have meant sacrificing damage, and given the axe has such good innate rally anyway, I stuck with what I had, but still.
Lady Maria.
Told you already, no cold callers. Of all the bosses in the DLC, the Living Failures was the one I was worried about the least. Maybe I should have worried more because I was here for nearly 2 hours in the end. First off, I just want to say, I wasn't going to stand rooted to the spot all fight letting them come to me. I would be actively chasing down my targets. Having said that, they have a few irritating moves. The head slam is fine, but not when they do it over and over and over and over, which they often do if you're stood in front of them. This backhand slap fully staggers you and knocks you away, which can mess up your chance to rally. And, although the Lock Shield is pretty good here for tanking their magic attacks, the pew 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 one just goes on way too long and generally kills the attempt. But hey, I did say that tools to make things easier are fair game, and Shaman Bone Blades actually work on this boss. Now go punch your friends. Ow! Okay, fair, I deserved that. Ah, Lady Maria, my beloved. You're gonna be nice to me, aren't you? Aren't you? Now, you might think this would be straightforward as Maria mostly plays by the same rules as the player, but there are several issues. The first of which is that she really loves to just do this one charged attack over and over, to the point where I started to suspect she's actually coded to do that when you use lead elixir, as you just can't poise through it. Second issue is her love of jumping back and spamming her biggest attacks in a row once she's transitioned to phase 2. Finally, the biggest issue is the phase 3 explosion. For the phase 2 one, she always steps back and away, so it won't hit you unless you run right into it. But the phase 3 one can happen right in front of you, and even trying to tank it with the lock shield, if you're too close, it seems to have a double hitbox that kills you anyway. Not to mention the fact that she can actually do it twice in a row sometimes. So, thanks FromSoft, very cool. Maybe I should try the wet nurse instead. Oh god no, that was a horrible idea, what was I thinking? Remember I said I would use any tools at my disposal where needed? Well, now is such a time, and the tool in question is Beast Roar, which you can find in the woods. Only problem is I need 15 arcane to use it, and while I could just drink the forbidden milk a few times, I enjoy actually playing the game, so I went to dick around in chalices instead. Now this is the real Bloodborne. Time to try this out on an actual boss.
Get down, trash.
I said,
get down.
Yep, it's super effective. With some more levels under my belt, I return to Maria for our glorious showdown. Also worth mentioning, since a lot of her attacks are easy to rally back from, and the axe has naturally good rally, I swapped out one of my rally gems for a pure physical damage up one I'd also found in the course of my farming. Come here, lady. Phase 1 is straightforward. Just rely on R1 spam to stagger her, with the odd beast roar to knock her out of her doing her charged up attacks and keep her on the back foot. Once phase 2 starts, elixir again and switch to the two-handed spin in conjunction with beast roar to keep her at distance. As long as she's not right in your face, you should be able to survive the phase 3 transition, and then just spin away for the victory. Simple stuff. Go away, mate, we don't open for another 10 minutes. Whoosh, working retail, am I right?
I need to speak to your manager.
I had more than a sneaking suspicion that Orphan would prove to be impossible. So, after raiding the hamlet for goodies, I pivoted back to Mergo's loft to take on the wet nurse. Would it surprise you to know that this was the most rage-inducing, irritating fight of the run? Because it surprised me. The biggest problem of all is this attack. Because the nurse attacks constantly and relentlessly when doing this stupid Edward Scissorhands impression, it's basically impossible to rally all your health back from it. And when you stand in front of it, it does it over and over and over and over and okay love, we get it, snickety snickety snip snip, very good, thank you very much. There is one saving grace however, and that is that the nurse can be staggered. With the axe, every 5th R1 seemed to do the trick. So, if I could get RNG where it didn't just loop one attack repeatedly, and if I could also get lucky with the staggers and cancel the nurse out of the nightmare phase, then, just maybe, I might be able to do this. And I definitely didn't have to go through 6 hours of sheer pain to get there. Get where? Here.
I'm begging you, wetness, please. Won't you stop fucking me anally? Just give me decent RNG. RNG, you might be the death of me, but maybe eventually, finally, could this be decent RNG?
always comes down to the hunter's helper to clean up after these sorts of messes.
Ah yes, screaming at boomers, my favourite hobby. As another NPC boss, Gehrman is vulnerable to the same strats as Maria, but he does have a massive arena, and my main concern was denying him any space. By roaring at him to push him back at the start, you can get him in a loop of backing away against this wall while punishing him. Also, like Maria, you don't want him to get his charged attacks off, but in this fight, you don't want to do the spin because it moves him too far away from you. Everything else you can just rally back by bullying him. Once he powers up, Beast Roar doesn't work anymore, so you gotta just go toe to toe with him like any normal person beating up a pensioner would do. You can tank his big explosion with the lock shield, and from then on, it should be plain sailing. I'm in trouble. Bolt's alarm, nothing to worry about. Shortest hero's journey ever. Moon presents could wait for now, as I still had some cleanup to do. First, back to Ebrietas. Oh no, you poor thing. Well, I really don't know what I was worried about. Oh, yeah, I know what I was worried about. This guy. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, Orphan just wasn't possible. He's simply too relentless, lead elixir does nothing, and he'll pummel you into sand before you get any time to rally health back. But there is one other guy who I suspected might be possible. This big fiery lump of steaming dog poo. Rah, right back at ya. Okay, let me be honest. Laurence is doable under these conditions with one disclaimer, and that's that I could run right up to him to start the fight. If I stood still and let him come to me, he'd just destroy me with his first arm slam, which he always starts with, and that would be that. But if you run right into his fuzzy gooch to start wailing on him, the first part of the hand slam will naturally miss you, and you'll only take damage from the second part, which is easy enough to rally back. And with that in mind, this felt like it might be plausible. Or at least plausible enough for me to bash my head at it for the next 7 hours. Oh, what fun we had! He screamed at me, I screamed at him, he spammed the same obnoxious combo over and over, I hugged his genital area more than I'd have liked, he jumped away and immediately jumped back onto my head, thanks for that, Laurence. If he did the RNG where he did the arm swipes more often, and if he let me get a head break for a free visceral, and if he didn't run away like a little bitch, then maybe, just maybe, I might get him to phase 3 once in a blue moon, so I could enjoy him yelling lava into my face and pounding me like a smash burger. But the fact that I did almost get over the line a couple of times gave me some small amount of hope. So I did what any slightly insane man would do in the circumstances and went to delve into the back alleys for money. With a few more dead pigs and levels under my belt, I returned to Laurence and finally managed a run where he gave me decent RNG throughout, and I was able to reach his crawler phase with a fair amount of HP left. To his credit, he did his best to try and ruin me anyway, but then decided to go off on a stomping excursion nowhere near me, so I'll take it. Alright, enough of this, let's get this done. Well, there you go. Miyazaki, you sly dog. You tried your best to stop my inevitable evolution into a squid, but my slyness and arbitrary set of rules was more than a match for you, and with that, the nightmare was over. But let's just hypothesize. What if we ignore all the rules to go beat the watchdog in a copy of the defiled Chalice so we can access FRC dungeons and farm some better gems? Well, you can't get much better gems than the ones we already have if you want to keep the rally potential bonuses. But we could just farm a bunch of levels to get super strong and see if that helps, right? Okay, yeah, no, I'm calling it. Sorry.
We interrupt this outro to bring you an important announcement. We are so back, baby.
Yeah, I'm not counting this as part of the run proper since I had to break my rules and grind, like, a lot. But I couldn't leave the wailing little sod alive. And, after many hours of attempts, this happened. Enjoy.